And Whitney, you would ask me what to do about that. The number, it is a verbal frequency which triggers a mechanism in the brain to go to the heart and from the heart back to the brain to shut off adrenaline and all its byproducts, is 8732-9667-488. And if you'll say it with me, 8732 9667 488. I'm going to do it one more time. You repeat right after I say it. 8732 9667 488. And if you say that frequency, that verbal frequency, it will shut off fear within 20 seconds. I always recommend that my patients and clients use that number right before they go to bed, so there is no adrenal reaction or injection of adrenaline from the body right before they go to sleep. A lot of people say, well, I'm laying down, and just as I was about to lay down, all of a sudden I got this surge and this jolt, and now I can't go to sleep. And that's because their adrenal glands are kicking in, and from all the activity that they had in the day, and they needed to calm the mind, calm the body, and responses. When you
And
do, yes,
do we
you're
need
going to
to
say?
say it 15 times?
I say it 15 times.
Okay. Is there a reason for that number?
Yes. One of my teacher trainers was a man named Lloyd Muir, and he wrote a book called Balancing by Numbers. How my book got written was because Lloyd's editor became my editor. And in doing so, I would tell, her name is Christine Diney, she's in Orlando, how to use some of the numbers that Lloyd doesn't talk about. As a matter of fact, I had about 30 numbers that were given to me personally for myself and my mom by Lloyd many years before he passed away and many years before Christine got to know him. And they needed to be included in the book. Her book is really a big book. And
I
she
have a
has a
copy of
whole,
it.
you've seen it?
Oh,
Okay.
I have it.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know. But if you don't know how to use the book and the frequencies, they're of no use. I mean, you got a
Yes.
piece of equipment and the technology, but it's useless if you don't know how to utilize it. When I started working with Lloyd many years ago, he said, normally I make people say these numbers 7 times, but because of your near death experience, we noticed that you don't respond quite the same way the average person does. And I had to say it twice. And I found that a lot of the people I work with not only are near death experience people also, but they had some kind of chronic or serious illness that makes them be required, or they're required to do those numbers much more than the average person as well. The chronicity of their challenge makes it more difficult for their numbers to seed and be useful. Now, Lloyd told me that in order to get the numbers to work, what he actually tested for, he did divination and he tested, is he would find out what the diagnosis was. In this case, fear. False evidence appears real. And he would find out what the number was by testing, and he'd come up each number in the sequence until he was done, and there was no more numbers. Then he would flip them around. And by reversing them, it caused it to neutralize or eliminate. So one of the biggest things with every patient I come in contact with is they come in some level of fear. Now, I work with the Bruno Gruning Circle of Friends. And Bruno, the MWF, or the Medical Scientific Group, Medical Wirtschaftsfreunde, in Germany, has his old recordings for Bruno when he was alive. He was a healer that never claimed to be a healer. He was a gift from God that could teach people how to connect to God. And one of the things that he actually taught was humans have a poison in them that gets released on a regular basis. That poison is adrenaline. And if they can cut that adrenaline poison off, because it's an irritant, then they can actually help themselves heal. And they have to do that by this technique called Einstellen, which we'll talk about at the end, because I like to focus on that by itself. But there are other people along the way of my path since my near-death experiences that taught me to remain calm. And one of them was Lloyd's number for fear.